So I'm here with Casey Allen. He's one of the players right here that I'm coaching here with USA Baseball, and we were talking about the hitter's log, and I decided to show him my hitter's log, and it's also something that you guys can learn from too. So I wanted to also share this with you. As you can see, this says 2015, and this is a lot of different lines and all stuff, and I'm going to share with you everything and my progression and how I was making adjustments with the hitter's log to become the player I am today. Okay, so right here, these are all the swings that I did for that year, all the results. Let's go into the first week. So as you can see right here, this is like April or the first week in April, something like that. We'll see as we keep going on. But all the red are outs, and the reds tell you like where I'm hitting the ball. As you can see, I'm hitting balls over here, majority of my balls over here to the right side between first and second. Now the yellows, they're hits, and the greens are hits, and the orange are extra base hits. I would say yellow is line drives, and greens are basically ground balls that got through the hole or something like that. So as you can see, we have red here all over here. And I remember I walked 4 times and I struck out 3 times for that period of time. And I remember to myself after looking at this chart, I was like, man, I'm late because most of my outs are over here. There shouldn't be a reason why I'm grounding out to the first baseman. Like, I'm super duper late. So what do? Now I started to change my my approach in BP. I started, instead of going to right center and hitting the ball over here, because I wasn't playing much at this time. So what I did was I started to move the ball more to center and to left center because I wanted to put my point of contact a little bit more out front. So let's see what happens here. So here's May, and you can see now it's getting a little bit better. Now I'm hitting my base hits over here. I'm getting my base hits. I'm getting my line drives. But now I'm working more to this side of the field now. And so that's when now I started getting more hits and having more success. Did I hit a few extra base hits over here? Yeah, I hit a few. But you can see now the spray chart is I moved the ball over, right? So that's basically what I got here. I didn't drive any balls here to left field as, doubles and homers. But what I did was I started to move the point of contact more out front and hit more line drives up the middle and work up the middle, more to the left side or left center side. And that was like my adjustment for that month. In June, you can see now I started hitting more home runs and more doubles. I started getting more extra base hits and driving the baseball all over the field. So I started hitting, here's my homer here, here's a double here off the wall, double here off the wall. I'm driving balls up here, line drives, you know what I mean? As you can see, it's more all over the place, more spread it out. Let's keep it going. And then here, I'm hitting another homer, hitting some doubles. I'm hitting it more up the field, and I'm not hitting the ball much on this side anymore. I'm hitting balls more on this side, and that's why my extra base hits started to increase. So that's something right there that, and my adjustment was I just stayed more of the middle of the field and working up the middle. And as you can see, I'm hitting a lot of balls up the middle for base hits. This is all the right-handers I've seen and where I hit the ball versus those right-handers that year. And as you can see, I'm hitting it center, left, and hit to right as well. And then this is all the lefties. For some reason, I was late on lefties early in the count. And I know it's because they'll throw me a lot of change-ups, so I didn't want to get fooled on that. So I was hitting a lot of balls over here, which, you want to stay driving the ball. You want to stay to middle. You want to stay to middle away. And that's why the hitter's log will tell you you want to stay up the middle and you want to stay to, you want to get the ball out front. Basically, that's where all your success is. And as you can see here, anytime I'm hitting the ball to right field, it was like a fly out to a ground out. And then when I start moving the ball a little bit up the middle and to pull side, that's where all my hits were. Now, these are grounders. I don't advocate for those. These are some grounders, too. The yellows are line drives, and the orange and blues and reds are out here are line drives as well. But what I noticed was when I started documenting that 70% of my hits were fastballs, and 33% were off-speed pitches. And this was just like just a rough thing. But as my big data after the entire year, I knew even more. But during this time, I started to use my data to help me. When the count was 0-0, I had basically 21% of my hits were counts 0-0. So what do you think I was going up there looking for? I was looking for my fastball because I knew that my best chance of being successful was the first pitch. And this was like mind-blowing to me because before I would go up to the plate and I would take the first fastball that I seen. And then after I started like documenting and realizing like what was going on, most all my hits came 0-0. So I was like, what? No, I need to start swinging the bat. And then as you can see, crazy, 6% was 1-0. That's crazy. I would think it would be higher. 13% were 0-1. I literally had 2% chance of getting a hit when the count was 0-2. When it was 13%, it was 13% when it was 1-1, and then 2% when it was 1-2. So literally with 2 strikes, I had like literally 0% chance of getting any hits. I was literally walking or I was getting out. And so then I was like, oh man, what's going on? I have no idea why it said 6% chance on 2-0, which is crazy. I think by the end of the year, I think that went up higher. This is only when it was like 35 fastballs at 52. This is like very, very like low sample, but at the end of the year, it was like a big, larger sample. I don't know if I added it here, but I do have it in my book. And so I'll add that if I get my book. Right now, I'm in Tennessee, so I'm not going to be able to do it right now, but I will add that later. And then as you can see, 12%, 2-1, and 10% when the count was 2-2 and all that stuff. So I highlighted red because it was like that was the best opportunity for me to be successful. And I think you guys should, do your data as well. Find out on all your hits. You're tracking it all, so you'll figure out like when you were most successful, when you weren't most successful, and then that's when you go out and you really try to perform on those, and you focus on what you need to do. You'll see some interesting numbers as you see right here. I have some other slides for 2016. It's not complete, so I won't add that in this video, but this should give you an idea of how to use the hitter's log. I created a spray chart just like this so I can see my data and see where I was hitting the ball, and this helped me out. And like I said, I got to see what was going on, and then week by week, I actually did it week by week too. I would make adjustments. I would say during my BP, let me focus on hitting the ball, more out front, as you see in this slide right here where I'm hitting the ball to right field most of the time, and I literally barely pulled the ball. And Casey's right here. Casey, this is probably similar to what you're seeing right now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This is
everything's to the right side.
Yeah, if we compare your data, this is probably just as accurate as you. And it was literally the same thing. I was playing once every 3 days. It was hard for me to like get the rhythm and timing, but I just moved my point of contact a little bit further out front instead of going right center. I started working center field to left center, and you'll see in the next month how that paid off. I started to get more hits, and you see more balls on the left side of the field.
Right.
So, just basically, that this is how the hitter's log can help you, because you're using your data, then you put it and you do something like this where you start to put lines and you use that to give yourself a visual on what you are doing at the plate. And then you can start making adjustments and start working on it. In 2016, I started hitting more home runs, but what I did was I started hitting the ball more out front. I started working on balls, hitting it to left center in the air with my hands, not my body. Because when you start thinking hitting it out front, you start to try to pull it, but I just try to get my hands to hit the ball to left center. And I looked at my balls and tried to see the backspin on the ball. And what happened in the game, I started clicking it, and those started to be more and more home runs. Start hitting more home runs over here to left field over the fence. And I started to get my power back that I used to have when I was younger. And then I started practicing that in BP, hitting doubles over the left center wall and then center wall. I started to try to practice it because you can't hit you got to practice it as well. Whatever you're practicing, like right here, you could tell I was hitting the ball to low liners, keeping it low here because look at the result here. You could just tell. And then once I started driving the ball like here, started working more out front, started hitting more extra base hits, started hitting homers. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. So right there, that's concludes this video. Do you have something to say? You have any questions?
Yeah, I definitely see. It's definitely interesting to see how the adjustments you made and the adjustments I need to make for sure. But it was interesting to see how your power numbers went up like that from June to what was it, May?
Yeah, I started to drive the ball. Definitely started to drive the ball, and it just kept going. And that's just because of the adjustments I made. And I started getting more playing time because I earned it. I started to produce, start taking the little at-bats that I was having and getting success, as you can see right here. And then those change to more at-bats, and then when you get more at-bats, you feel more comfortable and you start driving the baseball more. So basically, that's it. And thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for, if you have any questions, comment below.